Hello and welcome back to another episode of Gregtech Community Edition Modern. Last time we got ourselves a wonderful assembler started so that we can actually get some auto-crafting stuff through assemblers. Much nicer. As you will note, I have made a second one, and on the back you might have also seen I separated the hatches. So this is one thing I noticed. It's exclusive to an issue with the assembler. I don't know if this is a bug or not. I've been looking around trying to find information on it, but nobody seems to have anything about it. But the distinct buses does not work on the assembler. If you do that, it doesn't work. The only reason I can think of that is because the input hatch will be used for both of them, not matching with the colored, even though it says it's supposed to. So it couldn't figure out where the fluid was, and so it was not happy, which I can see being a problem. As for another thing I managed to do while I was off camera, was I added a second blast furnace up to the autocrafting and converted this to a P2P tunnel, which I actually have to link up. I almost forgot to do that, but I'm glad I went to show you guys. So now, the auto crafting from these cables down here will be able to pattern any of this stuff in here into this one as well, doubling our effective speed by adding that additional one to the grid. And the best part is, because I was doing stuff with rerouting power, this one actually ends up being completely open to be used. So it is actually pumping power out and across over to here. And so we have this one is directly powering this smelter, and this one over here is actually also directly powering the smelter, and it used to have items it powered as well if we go underneath, that if you follow the cable, so here's the cable, if you follow the cable all the way around, we get all the way over to our clean room here in just a second. Right there, which I have now severed the connection of, and we are using a transformer from the battery to step our voltage into there, which is nice. It does still look like we are going to be draining fluids, but we are not, or draining power. We're not actually using our generator right now, as I'm still looking to produce more gasoline. We've just been waiting on naphtha for that purpose, which I've been shuffling around my oil drill so that we can continuously get power. I actually should go check to see if that's even in a spot where it's drilling, because I don't know if it is. So let's get rid of that. I'm gonna go check on this spot over here. I don't think I have anything over here. Yeah, no, there's nothing. Always hate to see force-loaded chunk areas that I'm like, I don't remember doing anything over there. We're gonna have to get something upgraded so that we can process more of this a little bit quicker and upgrade our oil rigs so that we can continue to get more oil products for those things that we need. I like how it finally says I'm finished with that, even though I've already got that finished. Now, today we're going to continue our journey with upgrading our autocrafters. So we've done ourselves an extruder. We've done ourselves a, this is our material press, essentially acting as our replacement for our metal bender. Now, I think we should get ourselves another transformer to step down into EV from the IV. And we're going to work on doing ourselves a little, that's not it. I don't know why I thought I already had it. We're going to be doing ourselves a wire mill, and we're going to just snip directly into this line and hopefully be able to set the wire mill up right here. Should probably have done it the other way, but that's fine. So we got ourselves our large wire factory block, which, if we look up the recipe for it, requires our HSLA steels, as well as a elite wire mill, which again is just a bunch of motors and circuits with wires. So that's easy enough to craft. The other one is a bit of a different recipe than we're used to. Now we're going to be using our stress-proof casing again. So we've already used those before, but we're going to basically make this little, almost like, almost looks like one of those flashlights. If you pick it up by the handle there, and this was like the flashlight thing. Those big, like, 4D battery flashlights, if anybody remembers those. But that's what we got to do. So it's going to be 5 blocks across with a 3x3 structure here, and then a 2x3 with 2 in the middle. I do think the center, okay, so the center, it looks like we've got 2 blocks and a hollow block. And then we finish with a frying pan on top. So let's build that out. First, we're going to go ahead and put ourselves, I guess the back is going to be there. So we want our machine block down. Oh, I don't know why I placed that first. It's the stress-proof casing that goes in the middle, silly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there, we need our energy input there. We'll put that block. Input and outputs I kind of want up top, but the question is, can we place them there? Looks like placement of those blocks doesn't matter, so that's good. We just need ourselves a place to put our maintenance hatch, and then you know me with these blocks at this point. I like them nice and up front so that we can see what these blocks are doing and be able to upgrade them fairly easily. I want them in reach. And now we just have to bring over our power, be able to hook this into the system. Okay, so now here's where we're going to put our input buses in just a second. We're going to go ahead and build up 2 blocks here in the back. And we're going to put our input bus here and here. And then we'll put our output bus right next to it. I only need the one, but I have 2 because I was messing with other things earlier. Put that one away. And we need our 2 blocks here, 1 and 2, and then I think we're literally just up to, just up to building the rest of the casing around and our little frying pan top. And then, you know, remembering the machine block in the center, because that's important as well. So, ta-da! Here we have our large wire factory. And it's nice to always have these things up close, because you can kind of see the progress of it. Now, this is where it does come in handy. We have an fairly empty inventory. We are going to first grab out ourselves an interface and slap that down, making sure that this is not connected up to the other 2. We'll bring a... We don't really need a wire to bring it down if we had done it the other way, but I don't want somehow the inputs and outputs getting mixed. I guess one thing we could do is we could wrench it to face upwards and then put it up top. Sounds like a plan. Because then I can still access it from the side. And now we just need to go back to the overworld and grab our our pattern providers. So let's go get our wire mill number 1. This one's going to be the bulkiest. So let's put away an aluminum thing. I think that's good. And then it looks like we need another battery again, so let's grab another battery. It's a constant struggle of keeping charged. And now we just need to go down and click on our pattern provider space. This one needs to be I believe it is just regular wire. So the one recipe for that. Slap everything on in. Oh, that was my wires. Give them back. That's funny. Just like, that's not one. That's not one wire. That's too many. Oh, that's good. Okay, and now we'll put these away. Give us more space for the other one. But I just wanted to make sure, because I think this one is a 3? It is a 3. That one is a 1. So we're good there. We just need to put this one as a number 3. We need distinct buses. Oh, and I forgot to spray paint this one. So let's go ahead and grab the spray paint out and do that. We'll do red and blue once again, because I like red and blue. And put those back. It's a lot of spray usages, which I think is really nice. And now we just have to go grab our extended pattern provider for the other ones. Okay, and we need to go down. Right there is where our hole is. Alright. And place the other extended pattern provider right there. That gives us all of the different types of wires that we need. And now comes the real test. So we can still see it all. We know that that does that. Now comes the test of, does it work? Because, as I said before, it doesn't work with the distinct buses over there. So the only thing I can test that I can think of that would help is doing some more of the HSSG coils. As if we have 8, 16 is what we need for one. Need to craft up 32. And that will give us foil, that will give us the wire. That's going to be a lot of HSSG ingots that are going to be crafted up, but we can also test out how fast our smelter thing over there works too. And then maybe we'll get a recipe over here pretty quickly. Oh, there we go. It looks like it is on the run and working exactly like we want it to. That is awesome. I will say the only problem with doing both of these smelters like I started is that we're going to need another freezer to be able to process all of these, which means we also need another P2P tunnel to be able to use this as a freezer for both methods. But I do think that requires us setting up a whole nother system, because this just needs to go into a storage container so that we have our freezer making the liquid helium. And that liquid helium can then be pulled into an input hatch as well as the other ones that we were going to want to use it for. So that will require a bit more setup than I am quite ready for right now. But there you have it. We got ourselves a brand new fire mill. Now, I don't know if there's much of anything else for us to really do today. Let me see. I know we're getting ready to do assembly lines. I think we've got some rhodium-plated palladium ingots in here somewhere. Rhodium-plated palladium ingots right there. 64 of them. Okay, that does open ourselves up to the LUV era. But how much is what I'm wondering. We have combating lag. Chances that you're having TPS issues playing this mod pack are slim. This quest is more suited for late game bases with Gregtech and AE2. If you run the command forge TPS, you will be given the current TPS, the tick time in milliseconds. If the tick time exceeds 50 ms, the server is under too much load and won't be able to keep up with a steady 20 TPS. Okay. Any machine will add up to tick time. And so I guess this is found into decent items, kept low, building everything packed together in a small space. Note, This is done not... This does not affect TPS, but you will suffer FPS drops instead. Oh, okay, so avoid that. Huge walls of drawers is irritating, as iterating through every single one of them for insertion and extraction can be pretty taxing. Okay, good to know. ME import and export buses on large networks. Use ME interfaces instead. I've already heard about that one. Crafting cards to passively do large quests. That makes sense. And recursive iteration or extraction through sub-networks. If you use sub-networks, make sure you do very specific things rather than interacting with another AE2 network. Something else I was also reading up on. Okay, so there's not really much of anything in there. But if we get the rhodium plated... So congratulations on making it this far. Progressing to LUV will require more than rhodium plated palladium LUV circuits and LUV circuits alone. You will need the assembly line. The resource cost for components will also start to increase significantly as you work towards fusion. If you haven't gotten to automation for nearly everything now in IV, is a good time to do so. Take advantage of power granted by grid electricity blocks. If your power generation relies on large turbines, you can pick up the LUV rotor holder. So that was somewhere. 2 hatches for the price of 1. Oh, dual IO hatches. As of the new 1.4 update, dual hatches will greatly help with automation for multi-blocks. They contain both fluid and items simultaneously, meaning they can simply connect a pattern provider and be off to the races. No more P2P or buffers. But you don't need P2P to do that, though. That seems way more expensive than just using the interface storage bus setup that I have. Because they can only accept the inputs that they want. Interesting, though. Kind of nice to have that. I'll take a look at those in a second. But we have IV magnetism. So we are going to need that. We've got everything else. I think we just need to get the IV magnetism. Magnetic samarium. Okay, so we're going to need a new polarizer. Okay. Which you will need for LUV components requires an IV polarizer. Even so, we hope you weren't running all of the polarization off a single HV polar. I think there's probably a joke in there. Flies over my head, so... Oh, boy. That's going to be fun. Well, you better set up large chemical reactor autocrafting for those. But... let's look at that. Elite polarizer. I'm spelling it wrong. Elite polarizer. Vanadium gallium rod. Graphene wire. I think we can get the vanadium gallium. Let's look at that vanadium gallium ingot. Let's get one of those, just one. And then we need graphene wires, it said. So if we got 8 of those, that should be good. I like watching everything boot up to do its thing. Tungsten. What is that even getting processed at? That's the question. It's gotta be over here, right? Looks like it. They just gotta wait for the tungsten to go through because... Oh boy, yeah, we gotta wait for some steel. Tungsten carbide. Let's go ahead and put that blocking back on so we don't have this issue again. So now the question is how many seconds is that going to take? 25 a piece for the tungsten carbide. 30 for the tungsten. Yeah, see, this is the kind of stuff where I pause the video. So we'll be right back. Alright, so I realized my mistake. I'm still crafting those coils. I don't know why I forgot about that part, but, you know, we do. So, if we get down... What was I over here? Oh, yeah, I have to come down here so I could force it to make the thing when it's done. Oh, it's got to go through the cooler first. Oh, okay, it did. I was worried I was going to have to figure something out. So there's that. We just got to find our bender. I quickly switched it over so we can click around the side of the port. Make ourselves some indium gallium rods. And we're still waiting on the machine hull. Why are we waiting on the machine hull? Machine casing tungsteel plates, which are done over in the other smelter things over here. So you're still going there. You are not working. Why are you not working? You have power. You have input. Alright, now I'm just confused. You know what? We need our circuits in there, so we need 14. That's going to allow us the HSG, which is not what we want. We want the tungsteel, which is 12. So let's set that one to 15, and then we'll grab out that circuit that we have somewhere. Is it in my backpack? In my backpack. And we will set that one to 14, and we'll wait to put that in the machine. So there is something I'm forgetting. And now you gotta wait for that, so... Oh, this is delightful. I guess we can go do the ceremonious moving of the previous machines that are being replaced. Let us walk down calmly. Advanced wire mill? You will be missed. Thank you for your service. Bye-bye. And the material back is actually really nice. And then here's the other interesting thing. We have this over here. This is going to go bye-bye too. So we might as well grab that. And that means that we need to set a wire up, go across just like that. I actually had an issue earlier where I couldn't craft anything that was back here, and I couldn't figure out why until I figured out that this thing was gone. This is kind of why it's a good idea to replace things in order. Let us mosey on over. And then this should be just about done and working on its tungsteel in a second. It took a lot less amount of time than I thought it did. Anything else we can kind of look into? I know we've got this plutonium-241. Get another requirement for a fusion reactor. Very easy to make, just centrifuge plutonium-239 to slowly separate some out. In the future, this material will be required for nuclear reactor to produce what is not in the Gregtech Community Edition unofficial. So that's going to be needed for our superconductor, it looks like. And we need ourselves an assembly. Wait, what? Okay, yeah, that's just a thing. Ooh. That sounds pretty nice. But I guess as we get everything else finished up, we can work on building one of these pretty soon. What? I've never heard of this. Iridium and 2 ruthenium? Okay, so we're gonna need a... we won't need a mixer. We'll do the molten version. Who am I kidding? Molten version. Which actually doesn't take that long. Wow. Okay, so we should be able to craft that up with that time. We're missing a wire. There we go. All done. Now we've got ourselves the elite polarizer, which can go ahead and come on into here. Place it right on top of the graphene cable so that we can place our pattern provider up top and put in our patterns. And now that we know that that is done, we can totally use that. What are you doing? Oh, you're making more coils, that's right. Okay, so now it's time for me to just wait my time to get more HS2 coils so I can replace all of our lame RTM coils. And then we can use those for upgrading our Canthal and our Copper-Nickel coils, as that boost in energy reduction is quite nice. But thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!